Hello there, good afternoon, and welcome to the Starr Midday News. And coming up in the bulletin, member of African Union Board Against Corruption, Edem Senanu, questions relevance of promise by NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama to set up an independent value for money office to scrutinize all government procurement above $5 million.
I think we have several institutions already created to look at the issue of corruption, institutions that include PPA, the OSP, and what have you. And these institutions have the capacity to do value for money audits as well.
Also in the bulletin, more than 560,000 candidates sit for this year's Basic Education Certificate examinations nationwide. We're live to our reporters on the ground for more. Also in the ahead, sponsors of fake Guinness World Records cooking marathon dismiss apology of disgraced chef following his apology to Ghanaians over his actions on GH1 television.
And a very big apology on this big platform, and I apologize to the world that I'm so sorry. I don't deserve to live.
And later on, health practitioners sound the alarm on the use of cotton buds to clean the ear or get rid of itchiness.
The earbud wasn't meant for cleaning the ears, because when you buy it, there is no picture with the ear and says use it for the ear. And it wasn't designed by ENT, the professionals.
Details of these stories and many more coming up shortly. Stay tuned in. You're welcome once again to the Starr Midday News on Star 103.5 FM here in Accra and our other affiliates across the country, Empire FM in Takrady, Ultimate FM in Kumasi, Zeps FM in Zebila, and our other affiliates across the country. If you're listening to us around the world, you are on starfm.com.gh and My Star Radio around the world. We are also streaming live on Facebook. You can tune in and watch what is happening live. My name is Naa Dedei Tettey. To the details of our stories now, and member of the African Union Board Against Corruption, Edem Senanu, has questioned the relevance of the promise by NDC flag bearer and former President John Dramani Mahama to set up an independent value for money office to scrutinize all government procurements above $5 million. Now, the former president, while speaking at a media encounter last night, argued that new body will help curb corruption activities associated with procurement. Have a listen.
Procurement is a significant source of corruption, and no economy can sustain inclusive and equitable social and economic well-being with a penchant for public service holders to be self-serving and corrupt, as is currently the case. The use of public finances will always be compliant with our national laws, transparent, justified by contemporary value for money tests, and solely in the interest of the broader citizens. If we want to eliminate corruption, we must increase accountability in government procurement processes. And accountability gives power back to the people. And this is why one of our key policies will be to set up an independent value for money office to scrutinize all government procurements above $5 million threshold, or as shall be recommended by Parliament. Transparency and accountability are the keys to fighting corruption. And will fight corruption by creating an office that will dynamically scrutinize all government procurements, coupled with a lean government of no more than 60 ministers and deputies. And I guarantee you that we will come out victorious in this fight against corruption.
You had the former president and NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama. Well, speaking to me a while ago, a member of the African Union Board Against Corruption, Edem Senanu, said that there are enough anti-graft bodies in the country to address the issue at hand.
Well, every commitment to fighting corruption, I think, is important and useful, especially if the follow-through is actually something that is done. However, in this instance, I think we have several institutions already created to look at the issue of corruption, institutions that include PPA, the OSP, and what have you. And these institutions have the capacity to do value for money audits as well. I think that we would probably be much more pragmatic if we enhanced what is already on the landscape, look at what the specific gaps have been at the operational level, and address those gaps rather than have to create a new institution with all its costs. I don't think that would be a very probably prudent way of going about it. So in principle, yes, identifying that we want to do value for money for certain sums about a certain threshold, that's fine. But I think it is something that we can easily inculcate into the mandates and responsibilities that overlap with current institutions that are already in the system. I don't think a new creation of an office is necessary. I think that existing entities can have their roles enhanced, expanded if necessary. But value for money is something that existing institutions can do. And so if there's an operational gap, let's see how we ensure that these institutions perform their mandates better, or expand the scope, make it clearer, so that you don't have to create additional costs. The point is, if you use the existing institutions, we are not incurring new, fresh costs at a time where the country is struggling economically.
In submission yesterday, he said that a future NDC administration under his tenure will launch a renewed fight against corruption. And one of the things he mentioned that he would do is that, or he will ensure, is that no appointee within his government would be allowed to buy state property. Is this a firm indication enough of a commitment to the fight against graft, or we would have to wait to see should he get the chance to govern the country?
Well, it's a good indicator. It's one amongst other indicators. Just the issue of your people not buying state properties is one of the many areas where we are concerned. So one will have to make commitments much more than that as far as we are concerned. We have the constitutional reforms we think are key. We have the executive appointment of persons from the legislature, which we think must be reduced so that we don't compromise the capacity of Parliament to give oversight. We have the issue of assets declaration. We have the issue of lifestyle audits. We don't have a law. We have the conduct of public officers. We have the funding, political parties funding, which for us is crucial because that's where it all begins. There's so many issues that need to be dealt with. So this is just one of the indicators. It is good when people make such commitments because then civil society and citizens can hold them accountable and say, you said this, therefore we don't want to see it. It will set a good precedent, but there's much more that needs to be done.
You heard there, member of the African Union Board Against Corruption, Edem Senanu, speaking to me a while ago there. Now, still on the NDC's flag bearers media encounter, the former president added that the office of the special prosecutor, which was a flagship promise by the current administration to fight corruption, but has struggled to live up to expectation, will not be scrapped under his tenure.
It is an addition to our anti-corruption fights. And indeed, the people who set up the OSP office today are the ones trying to remove the special prosecutor. And they are the ones who are insulting the special prosecutor more than anybody else. And so the special prosecutor is doing his job. And I expect that if we remove political interference in his work, that office can be more, efficient. Today, cases that the special prosecutor took up, one cannot understand what is happening. You see what happened between the special prosecutor and Yoko. The docket has been sent to Yoko. Yoko said we haven't received any document and all that. And so the case has been left to die. Today, the $1 million something under the bed case is effectively dead. And don't think that it died because justice prevailed. It died because of political interference. Another case, PPA went to court and the judge ordered the unfreezing of the accounts. The day he ordered the unfreezing of the accounts, the next day all the money was withdrawn from the accounts. And so we need to create an environment where the special prosecutor can work and work on behalf of the people of Ghana. And so I will not scrap that office. I will strengthen that office to be able to investigate those who are leaving office, who have been harassing the prosecutor, and also investigating my people who will fall foul of the law. Thank you very much.
You had the former president and flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama. He's also been speaking about the judiciary. Well, he has committed to revitalizing the constitutional review process to set a cap on the number of Supreme Court justices if re-elected as president.
Issue of capping the number of judges. The Constitutional Review Committee recommended that we cap Supreme Court judges at 15. And so the issue of capping the Supreme Court is not for the Chief Justice to say. We will resurrect the Constitutional Review process when I become president. And when we do that, we will put it to the Ghanaian people whether we should retain the 15, whether we should reduce it, or whether we should increase it.
You had the former president and flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama. Away from issues relating to graft and politics, let's turn our attention to education. And a total of 569,095 candidates are currently writing this year's Basic Education Certificate Examination, BECE, at 2,123 designated centers across the country. Now, a visit to various examination centers in the capital, Accra, including the Kaiser King Examination Center, reveals that the process has been smooth, with students currently writing the English language paper. Now, the Ghana Education Service has also cautioned teachers, school heads, and all candidates to desist from all forms of examination malpractices. Now, have a listen to some supervisors we engage at some examination centers.
Okay, so this center is Kaiser King Examination Center, and we have 344 candidates, comprising 154 boys and 190 girls. The papers were brought on time, so we started at exactly 9, and unfortunately we lost one candidate from Association International School, so the number reduced to 343. Okay. We had an assembly with them and we briefed them on
the other one is unfortunate because he's a boy of Flagstaff House Basic School who passed on, and the other one just stopped coming to school, and that's why he didn't also show up. So we have 2 absentees out of 245 learners who are taking the BEC at this center, Ring Road East Basic School.
You had some supervisors speaking to Star News, and some news we're just getting in relation to the proposed sale of 60% stake of SNIT's interest in some 4 hotels. As we do understand it, has been halted at the moment. We'll get details in relation to that, but we quickly have to get some more in relation to the BEC currently ongoing. Let's go over the telephone line and speak to Obed Kingaglo. He's been to some centers here in Accra. Obed, we've heard from some of the supervisors. What more did you observe on your rounds today?
Right, so Naa Dedei, currently I am at the conduct class of schools where about 4 schools have been converted to the basic education certificate examination. But before that, I visited some schools in Esu, the Ring Road class of schools, and then moved to the Kaiser King International School, which is also an examination center. Generally, the examination has been smooth, with no cases of exam malpractice recorded so far. Currently, they are done writing the first paper, which is the English language paper, and they are on break and are preparing to write the religious and moral education exam.
Okay.
Again, we recorded one absenteeism, a very sad situation where we're told that one of the candidates passed on yesterday at the Kaiser King International School. And so one person was absent to write the exam. And so generally it has been a smooth process so far, with candidates optimistic that they are going to pass the exam.
And, generally, this is like a major exam for anyone going through the Ghanaian education system, your first major exam. What is the general mood of the pupils as they go in to write this exam?
Right. So I got an opportunity to speak to some of the students after the test, and they tell me that they have been relaxed because of the supervisors they have encountered, who have been encouraging them to write what they know and not to engage in any examination malpractice. And so I was even surprised after the first paper they started jubilating as if they are already done with all the papers. And so it's generally a very comfortable atmosphere at the various centers that I visited.
All right, thank you very much, Obed Kingaglo, bringing us up to speed with the situation at some centers here in the Greater Accra region. From here, we'll go to the Ashanti region and find out what the situation looks like there. We'll be speaking to Isaac Bediako Justice, who is our Ashanti regional correspondent, for more in relation to what is happening in the region. Well, while we wait to connect with Isaac Bediako Justice, we can hear from the NDC flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, who has also been speaking about the intended or planned free SHS bill. Well, thankfully, we've been joined by Isaac Bediako on the telephone line. Isaac, where have you been and what did you observe? Unfortunately, we did not get Isaac on the telephone line there. Let's quickly hear from John Dramani Mahama in relation to the proposed free SHS bill.
Not any bill that will improve our education. One, to make it sustainable. Two, to afford quality education for our children. And so any bill that would achieve this is something that I'll support. I haven't seen the bill, and I don't think that it has been subjected yet to stakeholder consultation. But we would want to see the bill, and I'm sure that when Cabinet has approved it, it will be laid in Parliament as a parliamentarian. The normal action is to refer it to the committee responsible. And I'm hoping that when that bill is referred to the committee responsible, it will do the proper stakeholder consultation so that we all can be on board. Because if you're making fundamental changes to our educational system, I think that parents, teachers, and everybody who has a stake in education must be involved. I don't know, we're just hearing rumors, and as long as we haven't seen the bill, you cannot say if they are authentic or not, but I think some of the things I've heard is to fuse the JHS and the SHS together. That is a very fundamental move. And so if you're going to do that, what will the impact be? What do teachers say? What do parents say? What do students say? What do all the stakeholders in the industry say? There are rumors that BEC will be cancelled, and so it's just rumors we've heard. Until we see the bill itself, we cannot make any determination. But like I said, I will support any bill that goes to improve quality and sustainability of our free SHS.
You had the former president and flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama. Let's see if we'll be able to reach some of our other correspondents on what the situation is like with regard to the ongoing basic education certificate examination, BEC. And do you remember how many years ago you wrote your BEC? Well, I will not tell you mine because immediately Ghanaians will go into frantic mode and start calculating people's ages, so I would not do that. But the ones who know will definitely know. This is still the Starr Midday News on Starr 103.5 FM. Well, we can move on and talk about something that a lot of us are guilty of: the use of earbuds in our ears. Well, many of us have been guilty of reaching for cotton buds to soothe an itchy ear, thinking it's a harmless solution. But contrary to popular belief, health experts warn that this common practice can lead to serious ear damage, even perforated eardrums. Now, in the following report, GH1 and Star News' Nurain Abbas investigates the hidden dangers of using cotton buds in your ears and gets expert advice on how to keep your ears safe.
In Ghana, tons of people use cotton buds, known in local parlance as yuasum on a daily basis with absolutely no idea about the hidden dangers. For many, the use of these sticks is to get rid of an itch in the ear or simply clean it. Though these sticks packaged in tiny plastic pouches may seem harmless, ear specialists say using them can lead to devastating hearing problems. But how much knowledge do users have of these cotton buds?
We use it to take the dirt from our ears.
Who told you that?
No one, but actually when you see it, that's the first impression. Should I say it's a culture that has been transferred to us? So that's how it goes.
What do we use it for?
We use it to take dirty from our ears.
Edith Koko Akute is at the Kolebu Polyclinic Family Medicine Department, and she explains to me how the ear functions.
The ear is made up of three parts. We have the outer ear, the middle ear, and then we have the inner ear. Within the ear canal, we have some glands that produces cerumen, what we know as earwax, or literally what we say asufin. Okay, actually this cerumen plays an important role in the ear. For instance, let's say one of the function is it maintains the ear canal pH. Okay, it also traps dust and then kills microorganisms in the ear, and then also it lubricates the ear. This gland produces the cerumen that is known as the wax.
So what are the dangers involved with inserting these soft buds in the ear?
Assuming I have my cotton bud, okay, and someone is cleaning the ear, you can see that we push the wax, okay, towards the eardrum. And when it happens like that, we can push all the wax to the eardrum, and it will lead to reduce hearing. We can also have puncture to the eardrum. That is depending on the object you are using, either a paint or a cotton bud, a paint top, or a broomstick. Okay, for instance, as you are using the broomstick, you are just putting it in your ear, and cause puncture to the eardrum, which will affect your hearing. It can lead to bruises within the canal because the canal is being lined by a skin, which can also cause infections.
Despite the obvious dangers as explained by Edith Akute, some individuals still say there is nothing wrong with using these cotton buds.
It's not dangerous. It's very nice. You just add small water. I add water for it. Then I'll use it to take the dirty from my ears. It's very good for me.
Interesting thoughts, right?
Well, that is Noreen Abbas's report. We'll bring you the full version subsequently in our bulletin, specifically on Starr Today. But interesting things people are doing, putting water, dipping the earbud in water and then putting it back in your ear. They believe it's safe. Well, listen to the experts in that regard. But let's go to one of our major stories in relation to the agitations over the proposed sale of 60% stake of SNIT's interest in 4 of its hotels. The latest is that the board is halting the sale of that 60% interest. You would recall that organized labor has been kicking against this particular move ever since the Member of Parliament for North Tongue, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, brought the issue to light. There was a mammoth protest against this particular directive or policy that SNIT was embarking on. Well, at a press briefing a while ago, it was announced that that proposed sale has been halted. Remember that organized labor, the leadership or their representatives on the SNIT board did meet the president, where a directive was given that the issues should be sorted out within 2 weeks. Well, the latest is that the proposed sale has been halted for further deliberations. Also, the Director General of SNIT, Kofi Osafo-Mafo, he has been refuting the claim made by Mr. Freddie Blay that SNIT rejected his son's bid valued at $150 million and $200 million, insisting that the claim is unsubstantiated. Have a listen.
The claim that has been made that by Mr. Freddie Blay that his son's company, Spartan Ives, bid $150 to $200 million and SNIT turned it down. Again, that can't be substantiated. And I want to take you through the process and Spartan Ives' involvement with the trust.
You heard there the Director General of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, NIT, Kofi Osafo-Maafo. Let's go over the telephone line and speak to Calvin Powell. He covered that press briefing for Star News. So, Calvin, why is the sale being halted?
Hi. Essentially, the Director General of the President of Mr. Kofi Osafo-Maafo is addressing the press, and what he's made mention of is that the sale of the 6 Senate hotels, that the 60% shares that they wanted to sell, is being put on hold for now. That on Wednesday there's going to be an engagement with the President, Labor Union, and some CSO for further consultation as to whether to continue with the sale or not. But if you really decode his speech, he's not prepared to actually halt or suspend in totality when it comes to the sales of these hotels. He's mentioned that in the last 14 years, these hotels have not paid dividends. It's only Labadi Beach Hotel who, in the last 2 years, made some dividends, but the profit they made is not enough to still keep them without being sold to a different investor who will bring in new ideas and new management to actually boost their profitability. So from what I understand of his speech, the sale will still go on, but they need further engagement with stakeholders. Nana.
Thank you very much. Naa Dedei Tettey here, and you're still listening to the Star Midday News on Star 103.5 FM. We just spoke to Calvin Powell, who monitored that press briefing by SNIT. Let's now bring you the very latest in the world of sports. Benjamin Yamwa is here. Good afternoon to you, Benghazi. It's been a while.
It's been a while. Of course, thanks to you and yourself and everyone in here. I'm back in here. Anyway, so former President John Dramani Mahama has considered that promising a new stadium, if it wins power, is not feasible given the current economic conditions and crisis. Ghana has recently struggled to maintain a modern stadium that meets international football standards, causing issues in getting such facilities approved for Ghana's matches in CAF and FIFA-approved competitions. Now, interaction with journalists on Sunday night, John Mahama was asked how he intended to address this problem if voted into power in December's elections, and this is what he had to say.
It says that we don't have a world-class standard sports stadium. We've been to several countries. We've gone to watch matches. I've been to Wembley before, and it's a stadium of a different class from what we have here. And often countries are energized to build this stadia if you bid to host something. It creates the opportunity because you know that you will get returns on the investment.
And that's John Dramani Mahama. In other stories, Coco Gauff has become the latest high-profile seed to suffer a shock exit in the women's singles at the ongoing Wimbledon Championship. She lost to fellow American Ima Navarro. Second seed Gauff was the highest-ranked player remaining, following Iga Swiatek's surprise defeat by Yulia Putintseva on Saturday. But the 20-year-old American followed the world number 1 out of the door at SW19 after failing or falling to a 6-4, 6-3 defeat to 19th seed Navarro. It meant there were just 2 top 10 players remaining in the women's draw: 4th seed Elena Rybakina and Jasmine Paolini, who seated 7th in the women's ranking. Now here's Coco Gauff heaping praise on Eva Navarro for the win over the weekend.
Tough match. She played well. I think she played great tennis, and there was moments in the first set that I had chances to capitalize on the break, but yeah, tough match. I thought she did well staying on the baseline. I know how she plays just from playing her before, but she really did well in timing my hard balls to her, which isn't easy to do on grass. And also she hit a lot of extra balls back, like slices, mixing it up. So overall, I think she played well, and I think she returned well today, especially on my second serve.
That's Coco Gauff speaking after her defeat to Ima Navarro. That's it for sports.
Thank you very much, Benjamin Yamwa, with the very latest in the world of sports.
And a very big apology on this big platform, and I apologize to the world that I'm so sorry. I don't deserve to live.
That is the disgraced Chef Smith appearing contrite as he went on his knees to issue an apology to the nation for falsifying his Guinness World Records win for longest cooking time. While appearing on GH1 TV, the chef or disgraced cook attempted to explain his actions, blaming it on poor pay and a desire to succeed. Have a listen.
Honestly have been working for a couple of years, working from one restaurant to the other, one hotel to the other, and nothing is just really working out. Wherever I have worked, I put in my best. I work so hard. But at the end of the day, whatever that comes as salary is something that I have a lot of responsibilities as a young man. I have kids, and sometimes it's even difficult to pay their school fees.
Well, management of Amadia Shopping Center does not think he is contrite. Now, according to them, Chef Smith's actions on hindsight were calculated and targeted at duping well-meaning people.
Even before that, there were some red flags. After he did the cookathon, he then went for interviews, which he didn't really communicate to us. And because if he had communicated to us, we'll know how to convey certain messages. He didn't. The files, the content, which will take you about a month to submit, because these are heavy, bulky files. It's either you are sending them through FedEx or you're uploading them, and you need a stable internet to upload them for a whole month. Yeah. And he went on air saying that we have submitted it. So that was the first red flag. We called an emergency meeting, telling him that he can't do that. Have we submitted it? No. So why are you telling people that we've submitted it? It was all leading up to why we went to the venue to caution him to stop, so we see proof before he continues. The second thing he did was he kept switching teams. The people he was doing the press conference with, they were different people. And someone he said is his manager is someone we pay to come and perform as an artist. And then we realized that we saw people who were familiar with the cooker, who were coming to the cookathon on a regular basis in his team.
Well, clinical psychologist Dr. Isaac Newman Arthur has been weighing in on the conversation.
Until we have some assessment, it may be difficult to say. But generally, when people get involved in things like that, they may need some help or support from the mental health professionals.
What will make someone want to do something like this?
Whilst we grow, during our growth, we develop our own sense of identity and all that. How we see ourselves, how we see the world. What society approves, what society doesn't approve, what society defines as success and all that. And so based on that, if there's a problem in that, we have all kinds of identity-related problems. So people may depend on the affirmations of others to be able to feel good about themselves.
You had the clinical psychologist, Dr. Isaac Newman, speaking about the whole Chef Smith saga. And that will be how we end today's edition of the Starr Midday News on Star 103.5 FM here in Accra. That came to you live from our studios at the Platinum Place. My name is Naa Dedei Tettey, as always. Let's meet tomorrow. Bye-bye.